Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. Today in this video I want to share with you guys how to make eyelets and also how to make a modesty panel for the back of your dress. So if you're interested in this, keep on watching and let's get started. So guys, this is a back pattern that I've drafted before. I've gone ahead to use it to cut out on this fabric, and I've added stitching allowance all the way around. And for the middle, I've cut away about 2 inches from my pattern because we need it to have opening at the back and for us to have a space for the modesty panel. Okay, so I've removed the pattern paper now, and as you can see, I've cut out the actual fabrics. I cut out 2 of it for the both left and right of the back, and then I cut out 1 lining piece for now for the back. Okay, so I cut out the lining piece for the right part of the back, but for the left side of the back I did not cut out any lining piece yet, and I'm just using my my chalk right now to just mark the back of these fabrics so that we don't make any mistakes later. So for the lining for this other part, we're going to be cutting it quite differently. So before we cut the lining for the other side, we're going to cut our pattern paper from where we had our dart joining. So this is what I just did here. Go ahead and do the same. Now I'm going to cut my other back pattern, giving stitching allowance all the way around these 2 pieces. I'll cut them separately, and this is what I had. So I'm just going to explain it better for you guys now. So why I separated it into 2 is because we need to have stitching allowance here for our modesty panel to be able for us to be able to stitch it down here. So if you don't separate it, we'll not be able to have this extra allowance that I gave to this middle part. That's just the difference between these 2 back pieces for the lining. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and iron hairstay to all the pieces, which is what I've already done here, and I ironed it to the actual fabrics as well. So now I'm going to arrange these 2 pieces in a way that the distance between 2 of them is going to be that amount that I cut away from the back pattern for us to be able to have our opening. So from here to here, I actually cut out 1.5 inch on both sides, so that's going to be 3 inches, which is what I have here. So now from somewhere here, about 2 inches away from this left pattern, I'm going to measure to the right pattern. So I measured 7 inches. This is going to be the length of our modesty panel. You can actually let it be as long as 8 inches because you don't want it to be coming out when you wear it. Now for the height of this panel, the full length I have from the top of this pattern to the end is 8 inches, and our panel is not supposed to get to the top of our fabric. So I'll be cutting out this panel with about 7 inches for the height, or 6 inches, so that I have stitching allowance at both the top of this pattern. So after cutting it out, this is it. So the length here, I have 7.5 inches. The extra ½ inch I'll use it to stitch it together, and then for the height I have 7 inches. And you notice that this is folded into 2, so it's folded into 2 here. So I'll just fold it back again, and now I'm going to stitch down this place and stitch down this place. So guys, once you're done stitching it down, you're going to have it looking like this. Okay, so now what I want to do is I'm going to place it on the bigger part here. So I'll just place it, I'll centralize it, making sure that there's allowance on this end and on this end as well, and I'm going to cover it with this other piece like this. So I'll just go ahead and quickly pin it down. If you can stitch it down without pinning, it's totally fine, but I just want to pin this all the way around. And then once you're done pinning it down, you're going to go ahead and make a stitch here. So guys, this is what I had after making that stitch. So I made the first stitch once and then went ahead to top stitch towards the side. Okay, I made the top stitch towards the side so that it just stays perfectly in place like this. So now I'm going to fold this panel in like this. I'm going to fold it into the body of the back lining piece, just like you see me doing like this. You can pin it down, and then we are going to be placing the actual fabric to cover it like this. So I'll go ahead and just pin down the top of it. So after pinning it down, we're going to stitch down this top area first, and then make a top stitch towards the lining, and then stitch down the sides. Now for the other side, it's very simple. I'm going to stitch down the top here, make a top stitch towards the lining, and after that stitch down these 2 sides. So guys, this is what it looks like after I was done stitching, making those stitches, and you can see that like we are already almost done with this, and you can see how nicely the Modesty panel is sitting. So this is how it's going to look if you've done it perfectly well, and this is how the other side will cover it. So now the next thing I want to go ahead and do is I want to make a stitch here on this end about 1/2 inch away, and do the same thing for this other side for us to pass our boning through. You can also do it somewhere in the middle of both sides, that's if you want it, but for this particular one, just want to do it on this center on both sides about 1/2 an inch away. So guys, I've made that boning case, and trust me, I know it's very hard to see right now because of the color of thread that I used. Okay, so once you've done that, the next thing you want to do is you're going to pass your boning casing through it for you to pass your boning. But I want to create the places where I want to put my eyelets, because by the time you pass your boning through the casing, it will be hard for you to create the eyelets. Okay, so I'm leaving 2 inches away from each point I'm making, you can see here, and I'm going to do the same thing for the other side as well. I left 1/2 an inch away from the top and then started marking to 2 inches all the way to the end. So altogether I had 4 on both sides. Make sure that you use the same measurement for both sides. So I have this eyelet plier here that I got recently, and it's supposed to be able to cut on my fabric, but I just noticed that it's not really working. So I'm just going to fold this point here that I'm going to pass my eyelet through and cut a very tiny hole. So I'm bringing it closer so that you can see. I cut a very tiny hole, and then this is my eyelet here. It actually comes in 2 sizes. So there's the bigger one, which is this one, and then there's the very flat one, which is this other one here. So what you're going to do is you're going to pick this bigger one here. You're going to pick the big one and pass it through the hole from the front. So you pass it like this, and then turn it over to the back and use the flat one to cover it like this. So this is how you do it. Once you've done this, you're going to now use the eyelet plier to just place it like this. Place it very properly, and you're going to press it very tightly. You press it very tightly, and once you've done that, it's going to just sit perfectly like this. Okay, I'm going to continue with the process with all the other ones. The same process applies. Just cut a very tiny hole, place the bigger one from the front, and then use the other one to cover it, and then pin it down with the eyelet plier. So just like I'm doing right here. So guys, I've done it for the both parts, and this is what it looks like. Okay, you can see, you can decide to like put other eyelets in between these parts here, because I feel like what I have here is too wide, but that's totally up to you. Depends on what you want. Okay, so this is what the back is looking like now. Once you have done this, you can now go ahead and place your boning through the casing that we created earlier, and see this space here that we have here. So if you're going to attach this piece to the skirt part, that's the allowance you're going to use at the end. So right now I just went ahead to fold a bias tape into 2 that I'm just going to use as the rope for this for the lacing. As you can see, I'm just lacing the back. This is actually very easy to do. Honestly, the part that is a little bit hard is just the Modesty panel, but if you get the hang of it, it's actually very easy. So thank you so much for watching this tutorial today. I hope that you find it helpful. Let me know what you think about it in the comment section, and I'll be seeing you guys in the next one. Bye.